Alright, welcome to the video. Today we're going to talk about how I stay cool when riding in the summer heat. Summer is a great time for cycling or just going on leisurely strolls, but it can get really hot, and if you're not used to it, you can overheat, you can dehydrate, you can get tired. It's pretty dangerous. You can end up in the hospital with a heat stroke. So, first tip is going to be, see where I am? Try to choose paths that, hold on a second, in hard gear. Try to choose paths that have trees over them. It's going to be a lot easier without the sun beating down, especially if it's 90 degrees and it's really heavy humidity. So I had to ride on the streets to get to this path, but only like 20 minutes. But this is a great way to keep the sun off you. That's tip number one. And the next tip is going to be, since I'm on a small incline, if it's super hot out, you should probably pace yourself and take it easy a little bit more. I'm not saying that you can't challenge yourself, but if you've never ridden a certain amount of miles or climbed a certain amount of feet, maybe when it's crazy hot out, not the best idea, because you could overheat pretty fast, like I was saying, and I'm not gonna have a lot of fun. Think of it as you're out there enjoying nice weather. You'll have a lot more fun. So you want to pace yourself. You don't want to be, hey, how's it going? You want to pace yourself. Had a nice bike. You want to pace yourself and just take it easy, because especially if you're not used to the heat, really easy to get a heat stroke. So there we go. Tip number two. And with pacing yourself, if you've been riding with a power meter for a long time, you could actually kind of gauge how hard you got to pedal. So I have a power meter right there. It shows me I'm doing 66 watts. It's jumping around. Oh, car, 1 second. We're getting on the trail. Well, off the street, onto the trail. Continuing that thought, if you have a power meter, it'll show you how hard you're pedaling or how soft, say 300 watts. So I know for me, if I want to take it easy, I really can't go above 250 watts. Maybe if I go toward 300 like I just did, it's okay, but I shouldn't be doing any sustained efforts above 250 because it's a lot for me to handle. I don't have a heart rate monitor, but what I use is my Apple Watch, 132 beats per minute, so I can kind of gauge that. And actually, there was one time I had at the beginning of the summertime when I wasn't used to the heat. Get out of here, gnats. I wasn't used to the heat. I noticed my watts were really low, but my heart rate was really high. My watts were like 80 watts and my heart rate was like 170. And ended up, I started to get a little bit of a bonk and a little bit of a heat exhaustion. So I just ate as many Cliff Bars as I could and stayed hydrated and made it home, but it was not fun. The last couple of minutes of that ride, not fun at all. So pace yourself, best thing I can tell you. That was close. All right, and tip number 3, is it? Who's counting anyway? This really should be tip number 1. These are in no particular order, but you want to give yourself about a half an hour to warm up. So in that first half an hour, you want to kind of just chill, and no Strava segments, no sprints uphill. It's basic exercising advice, but it's even more important in the heat because you could burn through your energy pretty fast. So definitely give yourself time to warm up. Tip number 3, probably the most important tip, but that's just basic exercising. Really easy to get injured, whether you're running, cycling, in the gym, weightlifting, anything. So especially when it's hot out, Gotta give your body time to warm up. Hey. I used to get self-conscious about talking to the I got a flat tire. I used to get self-conscious about talking to the camera while I was around people, or having it in my mouth. There's a lady over there that was just staring at me. Now, whatever. As far as they know, I'm on a video call, which I guess it kind of is, one way only. Get used to it after a while. What's uncomfortable today is comfortable tomorrow. Quote by Tom Milano. For the first time in a while, I'm getting consistent disc brake rub. Don't really give a shit. I do, but I don't. Fix it later. Disc brake rotors rub. Well, I'm not fast enough for it to actually affect me. Disc brakes for the win. Pop quiz time. Does anybody know who Harley Johnston is? I'll give you a hint. He's on YouTube. It's not his handle, but if you watched him long enough, you know who he is. I'll tell you in a little bit. I'll tell you in about a couple of minutes or so. So this next tip I'm actually doing right now, it's going to be, you need to be sure you're eating enough food and consuming enough fluids, water, and also I particularly like orange Gatorade. I find that it gives me energy into that third or fourth hour of my ride. If I'm doing a long ride, it really makes a big difference. I'm not as tired. I'm not as, you know, just slumpy and like, oh, I wish I was home already. So to quote Harley Johnston, eat before you're hungry, drink before you're thirsty. Those two things, that advice has had me feeling, wow, when I get home, wow, it's amazing. I want to do that again versus those last 5 miles were killer. So right in here, I've got water. In here, I've got orange Gatorade. I've got plenty of Cliff Bars. I have 5 Cliff Bars. It's better to carry too much than too little. I can pretty much eat 1 Cliff Bar per hour, and I'm only going for like 3 or 4 hours, so I have 1 extra. Better to take too much water and too much food than not enough. I'm telling you guys, bonking, especially in the heat, is not fun. So utilize your back pockets when you're cycling jersey. If you're wearing one, utilize bar bags, utilize saddle bags. I know they don't look that cool, but it makes life a whole lot easier. And sure, it's not as aero, it's a little bit heavier, but you want to go chase Strava segments, you shouldn't be doing it in the heat anyway. At least I don't do Strava segments in the heat. So that's tip number 4, I think it is. Yeah, tip number 4. Eat before you're hungry, drink before you're thirsty. Bring plenty of foods. Also, along your route, it's not a bad idea if you're going to be riding alone like I usually do. Bring a lock or some sort of, bring a lock. That way you're able to go into 7-Eleven and you're able to actually purchase more Cliff Bars and water. I actually did this. There's a 7-Eleven on the way on the route that I took. So I was able to do that. I was able to just run in. I don't have to worry about anyone just running off of my bike. So again, tip number 4, eat before you're hungry, drink before you're thirsty. Stay away from heat exhaustion, stay hydrated, stay full. You'll have a good time. So I just wanted to reiterate that last tip. Plan your route. That way you have water fountains, 7-Elevens, any type of place that you can go in and get food and drinks. As long as you bring a lock. If you're alone, if you're riding in a group, go in one at a time, no problem. You don't need to bring a lock. But that's really important. It's going to make life a lot easier. Also, as far as using the bathrooms go, you can find bathrooms. Worst case scenario, not that I've ever done this, but there's always the woods. But I would say better to drink too much and have to use the bathroom a couple of extra times to be inconvenienced like that than it is to be inconvenienced by having a heat stroke going to the hospital. Oh yeah, Harley Johnston is Durian Rider. Follow his advice, not all of it, just some of it. Overall, I like his channel, some of the stuff he says. I agree with. Some of the stuff he says, I don't. That's a beautiful thing about human beings. We all have different opinions. That's what makes us unique. So, yeah, overall, this channel is pretty amusing and lots of good content in there. So there we go. Tip 4, continued. And for my 5th tip, it's going to be consider dressing in colors to stay cool. So I have a white helmet, does me a really good job of staying cool. I've got light colored shoes, that helps a little bit, probably not that much. I do have these Pearl Izumi arm coolers, so instead of putting sunscreen all over my body, these things actually do a good job of keeping me out of the sun. I'm not wearing gloves right now, but I do have them with me. That's something else you could do. Some people like to wear cycling caps. I don't find it necessary. And inside my bar bag, I do have extra sunscreen because it's really important to reapply your sunscreen. So look, the sun's coming back out. Really important to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours, especially the back of your neck. Sometimes I use a bandana or a handkerchief to keep the back of my neck from burning. You gotta reapply it to your ears, but just consider dressing in lighter colors. Every little bit helps. I think that using a white helmet has actually done quite a bit. It reflects light like crazy, keeps my head nice and cool. So consider it. I mean, black colors, dark colors are cool. I like dark colored jerseys. Black shoes are the default usually, but any type of lighter color you can put on your body, it's gonna keep you cooler. And obviously either cover up from the sun or reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Tip number 5. That's gonna do it for this one. Just wanted to share what I do to stay cool and keep from getting a sunburn and get out there and exercise on a hot sunny day. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it helped. Hope it was amusing. Hope it inspired you to get out there, ride your bike, go for a walk. Just wear hats, stay out of the sun, stay hydrated, and don't get hungry. Guys, as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the road.